My name is Shaylin Herrick. I am the Director of Marketing here at SOS Online Backup. We're just going to get started here in a couple of minutes, and I wanted to do a quick audio-visual check with you. If you could please type in the questions tool that you can hear me and that you can see my screen. That will let me know that we are good to go. Nick says all good. Excellent, Nick. Andrew says all good to go. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so while we're waiting for a few more people to get on, I'm going to put a poll up on the screen. And this question is, while we're waiting, what do you want to learn about? So I can see your answers as you respond on the screen, so that'll give us a good idea of what we should talk about today. I know that the market in Australia and New Zealand is pretty exciting, and a lot of new things are happening and new opportunities opening up with the NBN becoming more and more ever-present in every territory. Okay, so it looks like mostly everybody wants to hear about product and back-end technology and what is the price. Greg says he wants to hear about price. Okay. We can absolutely do that. We will cover all those things for you. Okay, we've got 54% voted, so I'll go ahead and close that poll and then get on to the webinar. Our conversation is going to start with, what is the industry like? I know not everybody necessarily wanted to hear very much about that, but we'll go through it very quickly. So how does SOS Online Backup fit into the industry, and what's going on in the industry, and what's the opportunity for you as managed service providers? And while I'm talking, please go ahead and feel free to use the questions tool to let me know about any questions that you have and about your business. I mean, we're here for you, so we want to hear about your business, what you have questions about regarding your opportunity, the product, technology. We'll answer all of those today. So SOS Online Backup was started in Melbourne, Australia in 2001 and moved to the United States in around 2006. And at that time, broadband was in its infancy. It doesn't really seem like it was that long ago, but 2006 and internet years was quite a while ago. Things were much slower, so a lot has changed since back then. In that time, we've acquired over 500,000 active customers and over 600, this says 500, but really I should say 600, active value-added reseller partners like yourselves. We've continued to improve our product really on a monthly basis and give new releases to our reseller partners. So what are the big, important macroeconomic trends that have led to the proliferation of online backup? Number one, like I said, is internet bandwidth. You guys are living and breathing that in Australia right now. As internet gets faster in more locations, more people are going to create digital data, and they're going to put it up in the cloud. And they're going to do it maybe without even realizing it, but you have the opportunity to inform them that they can put it up in the cloud and protect their data because it has a great deal of value. So also, hosted storage costs have decreased over time. Back in 2006, not a lot of people put things up in the cloud. Most people backed things up with tape, and that's because it was just so much cheaper, as you guys know. And also, the sophistication of the population has increased. People know more about the internet. People know about technology associated with the internet. If you ask people what Facebook is, they would probably know that it's in the cloud. They would know that it's not really on their computer. They know that it's somewhere else. They know that it's off-site. And I alluded to this a few seconds ago, but the other thing that's driving online backup adoption is the size and significance and the value of digital data that people are creating. You're taking pictures on your phones all the time. So am I. My entire honeymoon is stored on my phone, and of course that's a precious memory to me, so of course I backed it up. Now I know no matter what happens to my phone, no matter what happens to my computer, I can always get it back. In the bottom right of the slide, we have a really, really important stat for you guys. About 2 years ago, IDC did a survey of businesses, small, medium-sized businesses, so we classify those as people with employees of 500 to 1,000 employees. 16% of companies surveyed by the IDC said that they are using online backup today. That's not a lot. 69% said that they're evaluating it or planning to use it. Now, that's a lot. That's a huge opportunity for businesses like yours to get in there and sell these guys, sell them online backup, which is something that they absolutely need and want. We've also got a white paper called the 2012 Outlook for Managed Service Providers, and your partner specialist here at SOS can provide that to you. I actually wrote it. I'm quite proud of it. It's an excellent overview of what small and medium-sized businesses are looking for when they're shopping for online backup. They're looking for security. They're looking for mobile management. They're looking for encryption. They're looking for compliance with government regulations. They're looking for all these things to make them feel good and secure about the solution. And fortunately, SOS Online Backup offers a reseller program that can provide that for you. I'd like to pause for just a second and welcome our CEO, Ken Shaw. He just walked into the room.
G'day, everybody. I don't want to interrupt. I'm sure Sharon's doing a good job, but given that this was a webinar for our Australian and New Zealand audience, I wanted to come in and say hello. How's it all going? We've got many questions coming through on the line. I'm sure Sharon explained that you've got to ask a question to go in the draw for the Kindle giveaway that we're doing. So make sure you use those questions, that questions tool, and ask lots of questions as we're going through.
I actually hadn't, so thanks, Ken, for mentioning that.
Oh, right. Well, just so everybody got that, to go in the draw for the Kindle Fire that we're giving away, you've got to ask a question using the GoToMeetings questions tool. And, of course, that'll help keep the conversation lively as well. So do that.
Yep, absolutely.
Back to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Ken. So please keep those questions coming. And John and I are more than happy to answer anything about industry, price, technology, anything you like. All right. So we talked a little bit ago about how the price of online backup is changing in comparison to what used to be used for backup, which was tape. It's now much more affordable and much more reliable than tape currently is or really ever has been. So this slide is really just an allusion to the idea of the fact that it's kind of silly not to put your data up in the cloud. And as you know now, 69% of businesses are intending to put their data up in the cloud. I sure hope that they go to you to do it. So we want to talk about what businesses want. You want to offer them an online backup product that they actually want, right? We want to make sure that it has total business data protection. Now, this information comes from our understanding of the industry as well as some external survey data like IDC data. We know that businesses want total business protection. They want to be able to back up workstations, laptops, servers, and mobile devices, all with one single program. They want total business continuity and disaster recovery. They want to back up their servers. Like I said, they want to back up their operating data. They want to back up their system data. We have a question for Nick. Do you have an ROI model for business customers we can use? Absolutely. When you call in and speak to our partner specialist, they will do an ROI analysis with you. So they will take into account your existing customers and what you think you can sell them. This isn't us dictating to you what we think that you can sell them, but this is us listening to you and doing an actual ROI result. Nick says SMB customers rarely know how to calculate ROI. They look at cloud backup versus a removable USB hard drive. Yeah, and that's another feature that we include in our program that we'll get to in a little bit. We offer you complete disaster recovery plan templates, so you can really provide that total value of a backup and disaster recovery plan in that template. So when you sign up with the SOS 360-degree partner program, what exactly are you getting? You're getting a lot of stuff. You're getting a total business in a box. You will be able to have your own website template, and for those of you in Australia, you'll be able to sell with an integrated billing platform through eWay, which you may have heard of. We also offer integrated billing through Authorize.net and PayPal Pro. This website template will allow you to sell online backup. It will allow you to provide rebranded sales and marketing materials, which of course you can do on your own if you like to. It will allow you to email your existing client base. And your branding, of course, will be customized. You'll be able to have your logo on there. So it gives you a web presence, which you may have not otherwise had previously. And of course, SOS Online Backup is an award-winning software that you'll be able to sell online. We'll be able to have this stuff up and running for you in less than 3 weeks. If you guys have any questions about this opportunity, this is a really complicated opportunity, we know, but very, very inclusive. In the SOS 360-degree partner program, we also give you weekly live trainings, which are free to attend as much or as little as you want to, but we certainly encourage you to do so. Andrew has a question, can it be integrated into our existing website? It can be a part of your existing website if you like it to.
Yeah, and Andrew, I'll just jump in there. There's generally 3 ways of handling billing with our partner program. One is using the web integration package, which Sharon's talking to here, which is sort of a jumpstart web presence and e-commerce portal that you can use. So this is sort of targeted at smaller resellers who may not already have e-commerce enablement. Second way, the most common way, is to use your own billing systems and just interact with our back-end portal where you can provision accounts and then you sell them through your own portal to your customers. And the third way is to hook into our API. So if you've got a website and you've already got e-commerce enabled, if you wanted to integrate this offering with your existing billing solutions or CRM or however you're currently transacting your services to your customers, you can just hook in directly to our web services API to do it that way.
Great, thanks, Ken. So how does our reseller program compare to others out there on the market? You guys may have talked to Internus, Doyen, Sigra, XZ, maybe Yase. The biggest differentiator that's extremely important for you is that we have a data center in Australia. All these other guys, no data center in Australia. I think that probably takes care of Paul's question, where is storage hardware data center located, US, Australia, etc. We do have a data center in Melbourne, so you can elect for all of your data to be backed up there if you like to. We also have data centers in a couple different locations in the US, Canada, UK, India, and Ukraine. You can choose any of those. They're all available to you. We do have 8x5 partner support here in the Los Angeles office. We also have 24x5 support in the India office. We offer, as you just saw, rebranded sales materials, website template, online sales capability, and the other guys, sorry, they just don't hold a candle to us on that one. They offer rebranded sales materials, which you can slap your own logo on, but the experience is just not the same, and the breadth of information available just isn't the same. And, of course, no web presence. If you don't already have a web presence, and I'd love to know, if you guys don't already have a web presence, please pop in the questions tool. I'd like to know how many of you do or do not have one. Another big differentiator is that we do not have a hardware purchase required. Many other guys require hardware purchases as well as significant cash up front investments in order to get started. SOS just doesn't. You're able to definitely get a significant discount if you buy an annual plan up front, but you can also pay monthly. Paul has a question. So is there an option to store in our own data center?
Paul, in large deals we do that sometimes. So usually that's more of a sort of custom partner offering rather than one of the off-the-shelf offerings. The typical off-the-shelf partner offering leverages our data centers, which is usually sort of more secure and scalable and frankly cheaper most of the time than running this kind of storage infrastructure out of your own data center. But those options do exist, so you should chat to your partner specialist about that sort of an idea. We're doing that with a few partners in Australia at the moment, and so yeah, that is there. But the recommended way is to leverage our infrastructure. It generally works out as more cost effective for you.
Ben's got a very interesting question to follow up to that. We're an ISP with our own transit and data center. Can we do that?
Yeah, well, so Ben, if you're an ISP and you've got that kind of infrastructure, I was just saying, drag the questions up on the screen so we
yeah, sure.
Then certainly we can talk about that, and we've done that before, particularly in Australia. So if you've got your own physical infrastructure and network infrastructure that you want to leverage, then talk to your partner specialist about that, or perhaps ask to speak to Jeff McCauley, our Vice President of Sales, and any of the. Do you know who your partner specialist is, Paul? Actually, that's a good question for everybody. Do you all know who your partner specialist is? If not, just type "don't know" into the questions tool, and we'll make sure to follow up and get you properly introduced to your partner specialist. Okay, most people are saying "don't know." Okay, so great. If you don't know, just type that in, and we'll fix that for you. And Paul, when somebody contacts you, which will probably be tomorrow, just mention that you're looking at self-hosting, that you are an ISP, and I'll make a note to get Jeff McCauley to get in touch with you, because that may be yeah, that may be a better way for you to go if you're an ISP.
Yep, absolutely. Someone asked a question about the prices up here on the screen. These are your per gigabyte per month prices for your cloud storage. So compared to other providers, we're extremely cost effective, and we don't control what you guys mark up and what you make your margin as. So you can do that however you like. This is just your base wholesale price. And yes, it is in US dollars.
So Craig, it's probably a little cheaper for you that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd like to pause really quickly here and do another one of our polls. I want to ask you guys, how many servers do your clients need to back up? I promise this is the last one of these that we will do. I'm going to launch it. And please go ahead and keep asking questions. Ben asks, does the pricing apply to the AU, Australia Data Center Storage? If you do want exclusive Australia Data Center Storage, there is a slight surcharge for that. Unfortunately, I really wish Jeff McCauley was here. He'd be able to correct me and tell me exactly what that was.
Sure. Ben, what most of our partners in Australia do is they offer their customers two price points. They offer them an exclusively onshore, within Australia option, and they offer them the offshore American option. And usually the partner's customer, your customers, will offer the cheaper option. But that's the way we handle the surcharge. We sort of give you both price tier options, and you can pass that through to your customers. Most businesses don't care. There are some businesses, say government and healthcare, who can be quite concerned about the geography in which the data is stored at the end of the day. Andrew asks, are there any charges over the cost per gigabyte? Andrew, sort of the pricing model is based around mainly actually server seats, not really price per gigabyte is the most important thing. So the server save FUB, we're going to get to a pricing slide in a few slides' time, so perhaps we'll wait till then to talk in great depth about it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more questions then, and we'll be able to really get into it. Nick says he's got 1.5 servers per customer, but lots of customers. That's great, Nick. Congratulations. Richard says, do you have provisions for Vasco Digipass security token options? No,
Richard, we don't. We do have a single sign-on infrastructure which could potentially be leveraged. Sounds like you're selling to sort of, who are your customers, Richard? Enterprise, government? So we do have an SSO infrastructure that could potentially be leveraged for that, but it's not part of our standard offering.
Okay. 74% of you voted, so I'm going to close this poll and get on with the presentation.
And what were the results of that, Cheryl?
We've got 64% of us on the line have customers with 1 to 5 servers. 21% have 5 to 10.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we've got some really interesting businesses on the line. We're really happy to have you guys here. So what is the SOS Online Backup product suite? SOS Online Backup is a company. Our mission is to be able to back up an entire business, no matter what you've got. Absolutely everything from your mobile phones to your systems. We want to back it all up. So if you start at the very top of the clock, we call this the clock, it's 360 degrees, and head over to your right, the first thing that you'll see is back up your system data. We want to back up your operating systems, your physical to virtual, backups. We want to do bare metal backups, and we do. Our SOS ServerSafe product, which is available to our partners, and we'll get to pricing on very soon, and I'll see a demo of, is that solution to backing up your system data as well as your app data. SOS ServerSafe backs up SQL servers, Exchange servers, SharePoint servers, Windows servers, file servers, all of it in one suite. Like we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, SMBs and your SMB customers want to be able to back up their entire business with one solution. They don't want to go to different piecemeal solutions. Maybe you guys can tell me if you're currently doing that. I know a lot of the partners that come over to our program are using like 3 or 4 different programs to back up their clients' businesses. Additionally, in the SOS ServerSafe program, you can back up complete file data. This is images, documents, music, videos, everything. We don't limit what you can back up. Additionally, we don't throttle your backups. You can back up as quickly as your connection will allow you to. We offer iPhone backup and recovery, and we will soon be offering generic branded, I should be very specific, Android backup and recovery for you guys. We back up PCs. We back up Facebook.
We've got a few questions here. So Nick asks, does SOS work with SharePoint Online on Office 365? Nick, if you've got hosted if you've got hosted SharePoint through Office 365, then no, we don't back that up because it's all running on the Microsoft Compute cloud servers. But if you're running SharePoint on premises, then absolutely we back that up. Andrew asks, any Linux or Unix operating system supported? Andrew, yes and no. We've got no native support for Linux and Unix. However, we've got a lot of customers who are backing up Linux and Unix, and they're doing it through like an SMB or Samba share on the network, which is then being read from a Windows box. So a typical deployment pattern in a medium-sized company is to drop an SOS staging server, quote unquote, in the network, which is just a white box. So it's a fancy label for what is just a Windows-based machine with a little bit of internal storage. Then all of your endpoints on your network will back up to that machine, and that machine will back up to the cloud. Now that's actually relevant to Richard's question. Richard says, I've been doing on-site backups because in Canberra upload speeds are rather low. So Richard, using that SOS staging server deployment pattern, which is, again, it's just where all the laptops back up to a single machine and then we replicate that machine to the cloud. Using that pattern, even if you've got a slow uplink, cloud backup is very viable because you've got fast backups happening across the LAN at 100 megabits or gigabit Ethernet, and then the replication to the cloud might take days or weeks, but that doesn't really matter because it's happening asynchronously in the background.
Great, thanks, Ken. So we've gone over what's included in SOS Server Save. Let's just look at it a different way and make sure that we're all totally clear on what is there. Exchange backup and granular recovery. A lot of your customers probably have Exchange servers in their businesses, and they need to back them up, and they want to be able to recover mail, messages, and contacts and more. You want to be their hero, right? You want to be able to get back anything that they may accidentally delete or that may be destroyed unintentionally. It includes what we call bare metal image creator. So this is offered to us by Shadow Protect, which I know many of you are probably familiar with. It's definitely a industry-leading bare metal image creation software. And we send those images straight up into the cloud for your recovery to dissimilar hardware later on. This suite of software includes Online Backup and Recovery Manager. So this is the tool that you will use to get everything back up into the cloud. You will use this to get your bare metal images up into the cloud, your files, your folders, your PCs, laptops, anything that you want to back up, you're going to use Online Backup and Recovery Manager to get it up in the cloud, and we're going to see that here in a little bit.
You're going to use it to get it back down out of the cloud as well when you need it. Got a question here. Ben's asking about the staging server you're talking about. Would this be with your backup software locally? Ben, it would. You'd use our backup software to back up locally and to the cloud. Actually, Sharon, do you want to we'll go forward to that. While we're on that point, the point of this slide is really, that we're on right now, this is really going to come out when John does a demo in just a couple of minutes. But this deployment pattern that we're talking about, just to finish this thought, so on the left-hand side here, we've got a little diagram which depicts what we're talking about, Ben. You can back up servers directly to the SOS cloud. The whole right-hand side of this diagram is the cloud. So ignore that. Let me zoom in. Using the software stack, you can back up, say, small payloads, we say less than a terabyte, back them up directly to the cloud. For larger payloads, or where you've got a slow uplink, like we were talking about a moment ago in Canberra, then you would use this pattern at the top here, where you'd replicate a file server, or you'd back up a file server across the LAN to the staging environment, and then replicate from the staging environment to our cloud. As part of the Server Safe suite, and this was the segue I was making from Shannon's previous slide, you're getting software that handles all of these endpoints. In fact, you're also getting software that handles all of these endpoints. So you've got software to back up a Mac, an iPhone, an Android, tablet devices, laptops, whether they're PCs or OS X, as well as then software to back up database servers, Exchange, email servers. We're very much a sort of relatively Microsoft-oriented shop. So when we say database server, we're mainly talking about SQL Server. When we say email server, we're mainly talking about Exchange Server. And then file servers of all stripes. So you get a different endpoint client for all of these different environments, and the staging server pattern makes sense in some of those cases. The two primary cases where it makes the most sense is if A, the payload is very large, as in the case of a multi-terabyte file server, or B, your uplink is low, like Richard's got a problem with in Canberra. Hopefully that answers the question for you, Ben. All right, so we've got some other questions here. Greg asks, is that a complete image of the SQL Server or selected databases? Greg, it can be either, so it depends how you want to set it up. Richard writes, most of my clients' main concerns are due to the trust protection for their data, which is why most hold back on cloud storage. So Richard, built into our whole security model is the idea that we should not be able to access the data of the customer. So with our UltraSafe security option, and it's actually on the next slide, that's shown on Sharon's presentation, we use AES encryption client-side with, in UltraSafe, it's not with a managed key, so all that's a fancy way of saying that we can't get to the customer's data. You can't even get to the customer's data. It's encrypted with the US government standard for encryption. AES 128 is what's rated by the US government to back up or protect secret government data. AES 256 is what's rated by NIST to back up top secret government data. So generally, that client-side private key encryption approach solves most customers' security concerns. Here in America, the key regulatory frameworks that relate to data protection and privacy are HIPAA and Sarbanes-Oxley, or SARBOX, and we're compliant with both of those regulatory regimes. So a lot of information on security that we can give you and give your customers, but generally speaking, we're sort of known in the industry as being a leading vendor from a security standpoint, and we do in fact have banks and government customers and government customers from all around the world, frankly, using our product because of those things.
Yeah, and just to capitalize on Ken's statement, our data centers are also Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers, so nobody's getting in there. They're monitored by video surveillance, you're monitored by 24/7 watch, and then, of course, on top of that, your data is encrypted.
Right. Andrew asks, is there any deduplication at source to minimize traffic going over the WAN? Andrew, there is between large files, but generally speaking, we don't do any deduplication across account boundaries. Excuse me, it's another big part of our whole approach to security is that we don't believe in doing dedupe across customer accounts simply because that then requires the software to have visibility into binary data, between different enterprises. So it's sort of part of our sandbox security model that we don't do that. Richard writes, you don't mention CrashPlan. Richard, I mean, there are lots of people we don't mention. That Mozy and Carbonite are the two major vendors in the US. If you Google online backup, here you get Mozy, Carbonite, then SOS. So we're generally sort of just focusing on our primary competitors. But sure, there are lots of other vendors. CrashPlan's, one of many.
We're also focusing on competitors that have reseller programs, and,
right.
and CrashPlan really doesn't focus on that. So this particular slide is to show you the big difference between SOS ServerSafe, SOS for Business, and then standard Carbonite and Mozy programs. They're very, very different. In the next slide, we're going to get into how SOS ServerSafe compares against who its real true competitors are. So let's go ahead and go over there. So SOS ServerSafe is designed to compete in the Zenith, Intronis, full online backup, I'm sorry, I should say business backup and server backup suite products. And still, it's feature-wise heads and tails above where those other guys are. A lot of our competitors fall down, particularly in mobile management. They don't allow mobile or flexible access to any data that's backed up, files, folders, images, etc. John's going to show you how well that works out later on. Also, they're very limited in the number of seats per account that they're allowed to back up. We don't care. You can back up as many seats, as many laptops, workstations as you like with our products. We want to give you that flexibility to make as much money as you can.
And the key differentiator between these sorts of categories of vendors is whether they've got a server backup solution or not. So Richard's writing, got some more commentary here about CrashPlan. Richard, CrashPlan really doesn't have a server backup solution. So they've got a great laptop backup solution, but not so much a server backup solution. They don't really have a partner offering either, frankly. Their channel offering is rather limited. So if you're looking for sort of a channel play, which is presumably why you're at today's webinar, and also a solution that backs up endpoints as well as servers, then we're probably a good fit, and some of these other vendors are here. If you just had laptops and you're looking for more of an affiliate style play where you make maybe 10% commission, then CrashPlan might be worth looking at.
But if you want to make really an unlimited amount of margin and sell to a lot of businesses, then we're much more up your alley.
Well, not necessarily unlimited. Most of our partners make 50% gross margin, just to give everybody sort of the goods. So we'll see pricing in a minute, but effectively 50% margin is where our partners start, and it goes up from there based on volume. So I don't know if Shannon covered this, but between 75 and 80% of the companies of SOS's revenue comes from partners and from the channel. So we're extremely channel focused. That number fluctuates over time and from month to month, but generally speaking, we're a partner company. We've got 1,000 MSPs around the world who are driving our product and selling it to their customers, mainly selling it to their business customers, and that's what we live and breathe. Companies like CrashPlan, Mozy, Carbonite, very focused on their own brand, and they have affiliate-style reseller programs, which are good for sort of consumers and really good if you've got maybe on a website and you can get a little bit of revenue from that. But if you're a managed service provider, you're an IT provider, you want to offer managed backup as a service, then the companies I'd recommend you look at are Zenith, Doyens, Asigra, RSA, SOS. We're the main players over in partner land.
Yeah. And we're also really proud of all the awards that we've won. We've won the PC Magazine Editor's Choice Award 4 times. So that's just is a test to the quality of our software and workmanship and engineering, if those two words go together. So let's go on to the competitive landscape. If you guys are at all familiar with SOS Online Backup's history, we played very, very well in the file and folder area, and that's where we've won all of our awards for the last several years. Back in November of this past year, 2011, we launched SOS Server Save, and that completely changed the arena in which our resellers could play in, as well as ourselves. As you guys probably know, the file and folder online backup area is pretty crowded. It's this blue square that's on the screen right now. There's a lot in there.
And you'll notice CrashPlan's mentioned on this slide.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Ken. Okay, so when we introduced SOS Server Save and made it available to our partners, how did this change our business as well as our partners' business? It made it massively bigger and massively more flexible. By joining the SOS reseller program, or what's called the SOS 360-degree partner program, you can compete in all of these new areas. You can compete in microbusiness, SMB, enterprise, and as selling enterprise servers. You'll be able to do bare metal to the cloud, bare metal local, SQL backup, Exchange backup, and file and folder backup all with one system. As we've talked about, it's monumentally important to SMBs to be able to back up their entire businesses with one system. And of course, it cuts down on administrative costs for you and just makes your life easier.
It's worth stopping here just for a moment. This slide is sort of quite important because everybody in today's audience should be able to draw, sort of take a pen and draw a box around a subset of this diagram to identify your customer base. So the rows here represent market segments with consumers at the top, going down through micro businesses, small businesses, and then enterprise laptop fleets, which we treat differently to enterprise data centers. And across in the columns, you've got different types of backup from a functionality standpoint that you need to deliver. So bare metal, all the things Sharon just rattled off. None of our partners tackle all of these markets, right? So most of you probably live in the micro business and small business rows of this diagram, and you probably could live in a couple of, in many of the columns. But so most of our partners will take this slide, identify which subset of these markets they're attacking, and use that to really design the solution they're going to go to market with using the SOS technology stack. So to comments earlier about some of the other vendors, Mozy and Carbonite usually and CrashPlan, they all exist on the top right of this diagram. Consumer, small business, micro business, file and folder backup. Now down the bottom left of this diagram, people who can do bare metal backup to the cloud and even boot your servers in our cloud with our cloud boot service and run them in our cloud computing infrastructure. There frankly are hardly any companies on earth that can do that. So you've got a wide spectrum that gets spanned here, and depending on who your customers are, we probably have a product for you. So yeah, there's a good slide to sort of maybe look at later. When you talk to your partner specialist, you can get a copy of this slide deck, and it's worth taking 5 minutes and figuring out where your customers fit into this landscape. Got a couple of questions here we'll take.
Andrew asks, how often does it talk to the cloud as soon as I change a file? Does it change right away?
Andrew, it depends how you set it up to run. It can monitor a file continuously, but that generally takes more system resources than it's worth. So most people set it up to run on an hourly schedule or a daily schedule. But real-time monitoring is available. Richard writes, my clients will not allow data offshore. Have you mentioned a local data center? Richard, we've got a data center on King Street in Melbourne. So yeah, you can keep your data within Australia exclusively if that's required. A different Richard writes, so you can run the virtual server in the cloud. Richard, yeah, that's an exciting offering that we've started offering out very recently to partners. It's our Cloud Boot service offering, and John can probably talk about this if there are more questions about it. But it's sort of the ultimate vision for us with the ServerSafe product, where if we're taking bare metal images of servers and we're replicating those to the cloud, well, the ultimate in data protection is if your building burns down, you can punch a ticket and you can actually then have that machine converted into a virtual machine, booted in a hypervisor in our cloud, and made available to you, excuse me, I'm coming down with something, made available to you running in our cloud infrastructure with a production server available on a public IP that you can connect back to. So true disaster recovery and true warm failover to a running virtual machine. There are very few vendors on earth who do it. We're one of them, and it's sort of an exciting new vector that our company is proceeding on. It's the bottom left of this diagram. It's really the future of what the SOS ServerSafe product's evolving into. Real-time data protection and cloud replication with full failover to a running virtual machine in our Cloud Boot hypervisor infrastructure.
And Nick, I think that probably answers your question too.
Right, yep, it does. Richard also writes, as a number of my clients are roadies, tradies, etc., that will benefit from remote server access to files, etc., without logging in. Richard, yeah, so the Cloud Boot offering may be dead on for your customers, may not be, but it certainly is the holy grail in data protection and backup to be able to recover a running server hours after the primary server failed. All right, so
okay.
Let's move on.
Let's get on to pricing. I know everyone really wanted to hear about that. First of all, these prices are in US dollars, so please do keep that in mind. We've got 4 main entry points into the SOS 360-degree partner program. We've got ServerSafe 5, which means you get 5 server licenses, which you can utilize at any time with any server type. So let's say, for example, you've got 2 SQL servers and 3 Exchange servers. Well, you can use them. You can use ServerSafe 5 to back up all those. Let's say that that's flipped. You have 3 SQL servers and you have 2 Exchange servers. You can do that too. These licenses, these server licenses, are completely flexible. So ServerSafe 5 comes with 1 terabyte of space. We also don't care how you want to provision that. If you have a business that you want to back up that needs 5 servers to back up to the cloud, but they don't have any laptops to back up, well, what are you going to do with your terabyte? Well, you can sell it to another business. This package is completely flexible that way. The monthly price is $399. If you were to sell all 5 of those server licenses as well as the space for what we recommend the suggested retail price to be at $129, that's $129 each, you'd be making $246 per month. Now, that's of course not where the party ends. If you were backing up 25 servers, which it sounds like some of you out there may be, you could be making $2,300 a month margin at our suggested retail price. Now, a lot of our partners are selling server backup for much more than $129 per month. Many of them are selling it as much as $500 per month. And if you feel like you've got a service offering that is so complete, as you should be, because you should and can offer complete disaster recovery services, you should have no problem being able to sell your server backup for that amount of money on a monthly basis. So we've got a couple more questions. Nick asked, just for the disaster recovery, I guess, or can we move legacy servers to your hypervisor and run them permanently?
Nick, it's just for DR purposes. So we're actually still fine-tuning all the rules of Cloud Boot, but the current offering is based around running in our cloud for 2 weeks. So it's for disaster recovery purposes, definitely. Ben asks, would you count a Mac OS X server as a client or a server? Ben, would actually count as a client, believe it or not. So, yeah, at the moment, we treat all Mac OS X instances as just endpoint nodes. So you've got 1,000 of those in the basic package. Any other questions on pricing? We usually get a lot of questions on this slide.
Yeah. So please let us know, is it confusing you? Is it befuddling? Is it totally clear? We want to make sure that it's super clear that you can start in this program for as low as $399 per month.
What it really, well, the question this sort of causes our customers to ask themselves is this: can I sell this service to my customers for $129 a month? So the offering to your business, your business customers is something like this. For $129 a month, we'll back up all of the workstations and laptops in your business, and we'll back up your servers as well. We're replicating all that to the cloud. You'll have mobile access. You can access data on iPhones, all of these other ancillary benefits. But the core thing is, for the same price as your DSL connection, we'll give you complete data insurance for your servers and endpoints. Can you sell it for $129 a month?
I sure hope you can. I hope you can sell for more.
Well, let's put it to the audience. How do you feel about that price point? So usually we get answers that people are very confident that they can sell this bundled suite of solutions to their customers at that $130 a month price point.
Yeah, Nick feels good about it. Great. Craig has a really relevant question. Can we add more storage than what is listed here? Absolutely you can. These programs are very flexible. These are just entry points. So let's say you don't want ServerSave 5, but you want ServerSave 7. You can get 7 licenses if you feel like that's what you need to have available to sell to your customers. We can customize these things for you. These are just entry points. Let's say you want ServerSave 7 with 2 terabytes. No problem. We can do that. And still, just as I said before, you can provision those gigs and those server licenses however you like to. Richard asked, is 5 minimum? Yes, it is. That is our #1 entry point and our most popular. Paul asked, is the 1 terabyte of space per server license or for the total 5 server licenses? In this particular plan, it is for the total 5 server licenses, but you can add more, and you can use it however you like. Ben asked, how does the extra storage cost work? Is this an overage charge, or can you pre-purchase for lower cost? All of your costs are lower costs. Since you are buying wholesale, you are getting your gigs, no matter how you purchase them, at a lower than retail price. Richard asked, how quick can we upgrade the cloud space? As quick as you want. You call us up and you'll have more cloud space within, what, 24 hours, John?
Yeah, I mean, it could be sooner than that. So I know you guys are in Australia, but you'd be able to email your sales rep, call them. Most of them, you're able to call them late at night too. So I think there's probably, an 8-hour window where it's possible to talk to somebody. But I would email, call, and we can get that done pretty quick for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're here to enable you to sell as much as you possibly can. So we want to be able to do that for you quickly.
Yeah, and if you're upgrading, you're going to be sent an invoice. So as quick as you sign that and get it back to us, we'll make sure your storage gets allocated.
Tahan asks, so if I back up 1,000 desktops, each having a Windows install at approximately 8 gigabytes, this is well over the 1 terabyte cloud space.
That's correct. Can you elaborate more, Tahan, please?
Yeah. I would love to be able to answer your question probably better. Ben asks, okay, so you have to pre-purchase, pre-arrange your storage space. Yes, that's absolutely correct, Ben.
You're basically allocating, you're purchasing up front. It's like anything else. If you wanted to sell pencils, you'd have to buy 1,000 of them to get a good price.
Yeah.
Same thing. Is there an extra cost of storage fixed pricing? As most clients I have want to know how much, not sliding scale. So we have an extra storage cost pricing. So everything you see here in front of you is bundled, and of course you can buy extra terabytes for an X number of dollars per month, and that's a lot cheaper than what you see in front of you. And you want to ask your sales rep about that. We try not to give the same price for everybody because they all want different packages sometimes. So your sales rep will be the best person to ask about extra storage, how much that is, but it's not a big number.
Yep, absolutely. And it can be whatever you want it to be. Let's say that you need 1 terabyte plus another 50 gigs and not, 3 more terabytes. That's fine. We can definitely do that for you. Richard wants to clarify, I have clients with Mac servers hosted in data centers. You don't treat them as servers, yes?
Well, I think what came in by that is that our Mac client works on OS X 10.6 and later. And what I think he was trying to say is that we will consider that our only backup application will work on that as well as it would the client, because he uses the word application also as client software.
Paul asks, how many instances of the storage data do you retain? Is the data replicated within your own storage fabric for redundancy? If so, does this go out of Australia?
So what we do is we back up data differently than our partner. I'm sorry, than our competitors do. One of the things, we are 40% faster than everybody else, which is nice. But another thing is, we're the only company that gives you unlimited version history. So we actually don't set any retention, but we also don't charge you extra for it. Here's an example. You have an Outlook PSD file. You start backing up on day one. Let's say it's 10 megabytes. You back it up for an entire year, and you now have 365 versions with SOS. And by the last day of the year, let's say your PSD file is increased to 4 gigabytes in size. You're only going to be using 4 gigs of all those versions. So what we do is we only charge you for the largest version of that set. So it's quite beneficial. That's why no one else offers it. The way we set up our software and our technology, we don't lose ourselves at the bank by doing so.
Cool. Thanks, John. These Mac servers are running Careo mail service. Lots of data and critical.
Yeah, Richard, it's still an endpoint as far as we're concerned. The answer doesn't change. So any Mac device is treated as an endpoint, regardless of the actual true nature of the endpoint.
And then of course still is subject to the same high level of encryption that we do with everything else. So
it just doesn't use up a server-side seat. It's good news for you, Richard.
Yeah, very good news for you. So we are ready to move on from pricing and move on to a demo. If there aren't any other questions here. Nick says, does that mean if we back up hourly, you can 365 by 24 versions and only charge for the largest active one?
That is correct. When he puts it like that, it doesn't seem like such a smart idea. But
well, for you guys, it seems like a smart idea. So yeah, you've got the CEO and director of marketing in the room questioning ourselves.
Yeah, Nick, we've been doing this for nearly 12 years now, and so it is very generous, but to John's point, we've got a lot of clever technology that minimizes our cost of storage on the back end and allows us to do all that for you and just bundle it into the price.
Again, I do want to remind you guys that in order to be entered in the drawing for the Kindle, you do need to ask questions, so now's an awesome time while you've got us all in the room getting ready for the demo.
Paul, to answer your question, the data is stored on our hardware. So yeah, our storage fabric for redundancy. So if you were looking for 2 copies of the data in different places, that would be additional cost. So if you could clarify that there, I mean, we can have data go to Australia as your primary. We can have data go to the United States, which we have more redundancy built in here because it's cheaper. But if you were looking for 2 copies of the data in 2 different data centers, there'd be additional cost for that.
Ben says, slightly unrelated to the current slide, but what level of data efficiency for bandwidth do you have? Are you doing delta copy or similar in any deduplication?
We're doing binary delta compression, Ben, so we are just extracting the block differences between versions of files. As we mentioned earlier, we're not doing client-side inter-account deduplication because it sort of violates our security approach, but we do heavily optimize that data payload, so it's generally speaking, with all cloud backup and replication software, the baseline payload is very large, and that's always the hump that you've got to get over. After that, the daily backups usually happen in minutes. Even if you're replicating large amounts of data, the difference set that's generated on day 2 is tiny compared to the amount of data that's shipped on day 1.
Great, thanks, Ken. Any other questions surrounding pricing? And then we'll move on to demo and we can ask very product-specific questions and see exactly how it works. If not, okay, I am going to hand the controls over to John.
Okay. Okay, what I've got for you guys is got a remote desktop connection here. Hope you guys can see the screen okay. If you're not able to see the virtual machine, I see the Windows version running in the background, please let me know. But my intent is to show you my desktop, and hopefully we can see that okay.
Richard and Nick say that they cannot see it.
Okay. let's see here. Thank you, gentlemen. Let me just fix GoToMeeting here and see what's going on. It says that I'm paused, so let's just play it. So I just gave everybody full view there, so hopefully everybody can see it. Let me know if that helped. Better, can't see, better, got it.
All
Okay,
right,
excellent. So what I intended to show you here was first our partner dashboard. We listen to our partners, and they always are giving us feature requests. So we want to accommodate them to keep them, as far as retention. That's a good business practice. But also, acquiring new customers. We need to build new features all the time. And so we have the partner dashboard here. One of our biggest requests was updates and news. We had that right at the top. That's what we wanted to see. New update might come out. We'll list it there. I'm going to have some specials running. On the right-hand side, we have the partner rebrand resources. You can see there we have our partner support hotline. This is new this year, 2012. It's where when you call that, you're not getting our general support people, or you're not getting the entire support staff. You're getting people that have only been trained in how to support our partners. And that number is good. All the time. We also have live chat support. You just go to our website. You'll be able to talk with someone even in the odd hours of night. This portal looks very simple. It's meant to be that simple. We don't want to complicate things. So you can see there's only a few items we can do on this one page, but it links to everything else. The first thing we have, I want to show you here, the second thing, sorry, is the online backup and recovery. You can see it shows how many gigabytes I've actually purchased as a partner. And I know right there it shows about 10 or 100 terabytes there, but if you're a partner, it's going to show how much you have there and how much you've allocated to your customers. So if you've allocated about 90%, you call up your sales rep or email them and say, hey, I need some more. Send me an invoice, and you tell them how much. I want a terabyte. We have a few buttons there. Add new account, view full list, go to customer shopping cart. Add new account is just what it says. It's where you go there to actually create a new user account for your customer. This is just straight online backup. You fill out this form. There'll be some backup plans down here below for you to choose from. Other buttons on there is view full list. I want to see all my user accounts. I hit that. They show up on the screen. Here they are. View actions lets me like upgrade, cancel, reset a password, change the email address. I can view more details on their backup account. I hit view details, and I can see total usage. This customer hasn't backed anything up yet, but like there. So all of this brings you everything. It's all central location to bring you everywhere else you need to go. So we also have things like go to my shopping cart. We actually host a 4 or 5 page website where it's like a landing page for something online backup. It gives you more information about the software, about the service. There's a contact us page. There's even a sign up page that we host. It's going to be a secure page. You're able to take PayPal payments, credit card payments, and the money goes into your bank account, not ours. We're not trying to be a middleman in that respect. So you're able to sign people to your website, sign up, or you can create accounts manually in the partner portal. Other things in this partner portal, there's more options here. I won't go into too much there, but I'm able to manage my backup plans, change the pricing, so it's available. Here's a content section. You can change the web pages, change the layout, add new pages. There's coupon codes if you want to get some discounts. Down here below, there's a mass emailing system. You can create a mass email to all your customers, free trial customers, and pick some different campaigns. All that's in here for you to use to manage the e-commerce website. Down here below, we have the server backup and recovery. What this is the image creator, which is that BDR solution that we've designed, where it's going to do it's going to back up your Windows machines as an image. It'll do each disk or partition as an image. And then also we have the Exchange Ground Recovery. So after you create a user account, you go in here, you manage license, you would assign one of those usernames to one of the available license keys, like that. After you do so, you would then use our ServerSafe installer to install all your applications and license them. You just click on this green button here to do that. Now I already have the ServerSafe installer downloaded on my desktop. I'm going to show you that right now. You can see it's right here. I can launch ServerSafe. And this is just a small executable that you run. It doesn't need to be installed, actually. So I log in here as that customer, because I just created their account. I gave them I assign license keys to them. Now once I log in, I'm going to be able to use these icons here to either install Online Backup and Recovery Manager, which is used to back up your folders and files to the cloud, as well as your images if you want to. We have the bare metal image creator. Install that. Here's my license key. All right. Install Exchange Grounded Recovery and license it. Here's the license file. You just save that. And we also have Workstation Backup too. That's still there. Now this is an older version of our software. Some of our partners still use it, but it's not being offered moving forward. Now this Server Save application is just used for installation licensing. I don't need to actually use it after I install. So I'm going to close it. I'm going to go over to the Online Backup and Recovery Manager, as you can see right here. Very simple to use. We're not trying to complicate anything here. It's a very powerful product, but very simple to use. We want to make it easy for you to back up and recover without having to activate anything on any of your machines. You're able to install this on all your desktops and laptops and your file servers, and you're able to just install it, log in, and start backing up and recovering right away. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not based on the site or the location. So I can very quickly go instead of Online Backup. I only have a couple screens. Now this is new and exciting. You might have a lot of customers that don't know where the data is, or they don't know how to select it properly, or they're nervous about it. This Smart Scanner has a bunch of predefined file extensions, especially the most popular ones out there in business backup as far as documents, images, music, videos, and you can even do custom. Now I know most people like you and even myself, been in IT for a long time, we like to select the folders actually going back up. But this is very easy for you to get your customers backed up without having to involve them in a long conversation or how much data they have or they're worried about if everything's backed up properly, just based on extensions. If you do not want to use that, you can just click on Do Not Scan. I want to select manually. And this is there's one more step to this and then we're done. So I just select my files and folders. I can select a file on my desktop like this. I can select a folder on my C drive. I can select an entire drive loader on my app drive. You'll notice here I have some Shutterfly images. Now we use StorageCraft, that's our partner. We use them for the image backup piece, local backup. And then what we do is we then use our Online Backup Recovery Manager to back up those images to the cloud. So I hit Next here. This is the last step, pretty easy. If I just want to change some settings, I uncheck this box. I don't want to back it up now. Or I leave it checked to run the backup now and then. I might want to have this backup while I'm logged off. I type my credentials right there, and I can back up while the server's logged off. This is all powered by the Windows Task Scheduler. I also can type my email address or to a report after the backup is finished. And in that report, you're going to get the machine name, username, total amount of data backed up at that time, files that weren't backed up, if any, and so on. And then I just hit Finish, and that's it. That's that easy to do so. We are using VSS, so you will see backup of open files. Earlier I mentioned we back up 40% faster than our competitors. That's because we changed the way we back up files. The old method is where we would copy your files to the hard drive first in a temp folder, then we would compress and encrypt and zip. And that method was great, but now it's too slow. Our new method is a streaming backup. It's going to compress and encrypt the files as it's sending them to the cloud. That's how we get that 40% gain in speed. Now that 40% gain, that's without mentioning that we don't throttle. We're the only company that doesn't throttle you. I've seen fast backups as go as 65 megabit per second. So as fast as you can send it, we can take it. But just keep in mind, we are compressing and encrypting in the stream as it's going. So that's going to make it a little bit slower, of course. All right, so restore. We have 3 different methods of restore, actually 4. We have the Restore Wizard. The Restore Wizard is based on a calendar, so you can go to Restore Wizard, pick the bold date, you hit Next, and you're able to recover information from all your systems that you backed up. Now, I recommend not backing up any more than 3 million files per backup account. Now, I know before we said, example, we had 1,000 computers, 8 gigs on each per day. Now, we don't care about that. We care about the number of files. So try and keep it around 3 million. But I can actually do a simultaneous recovery here. I can select a folder from one machine, a folder from another, and then I can recover that. And when I do a recovery, I usually base it on the original path, because I want complete organization. You can see here I have 2 folders, Lasso Demo 7, Lasso Demo 12. these are actually recoveries of multiple files in one recovery session. I open this up, I get the original path, C drive, users, user 1, desktop, and so on. There we go. Again, very easy. The other method here is we have Classic View. Classic View is very simple. This is what we started out with. But it's also the place where you go and delete files. I just right-click, I can recover or delete. And the recovery method is exactly the same as the wizard. But one more thing in this view is actually it lets you have version control. And you just go to the actual file itself, and you'll see a drop-down for any of those files or folders that have versions with them. You can see here I have a drop-down, and I can drop that down. I can see the date and time. Now, our backup servers are and most of them are in Texas. So if you see some times that are maybe 2 hours off or from Central Time, you keep that in mind. Now, I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna go to my account system, show you a couple more recovery methods. This is my favorite because well, being in IT for many years and working with tape and hard drive backup, whenever you want to do a recovery for a customer, you had to go to the machine, do a recovery, get those files recovered, with the correct tape, and then get it sent to that user. So what we have here is we have a simple method of choosing the machine where the data is backed up. We go to the location of the file. And you can see here I have share and recover. I can share and recover any folder or file up to 500 megs. Now, I just want to get one file. I do have versioning in here too. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and you see I have a drop-down right here next to a version of a file. I pick any file I want. Then I can recover that right here in the browser, like that. Or I can hit share, and I get this form that comes up. I just type in here a couple things. File, I can type them in email message. Here is that file you lost. You kind of be cute, or cheeky as you would call it. And type in friend, type in their first name, type in their email address, and then hit submit. I'm sorry, share. So they're going to get an email. That email will have a link inside of it. All I do is click on that link, and it'll download that zip folder or that file, and bam, you've now got a file that's backed up and encrypted to a user in about under a minute. And so you can do the same thing from your smartphone. You can share recover. So we have a generic website for our partners, m.managedoffsitebackup.net. And I can log in from my smartphone, and I can do almost the same thing, except I can't do any versioning. So I basically get the latest version of the file. It's a little stretched out because it's on my computer, but if it's on a smartphone, it looks real nice.
And you can also use your native Android and iPhone apps for the same purpose, which you guys probably all have something similar to that, I imagine. And if you also, really, really important point, sorry I jumbled up my sentence there, but this mobile system allows you to download and recover files that are 500 megs or less. I just want to point out that back on the software system, that is where you will download and recover your much larger files.
Yeah, that is totally correct. So I didn't want to scare anybody there. I thought there were some recovery limits. It's just for the website. One more thing I want to show you in here is that we have the reporting section. The backup history report is based on date range. The machine backup details report gives me all my systems, the total amount of use space per system, and the last backup date. So I know it's kind of important to even your customers to do so. There is a search button in here too. You can search by file type, and you can type in either extension name, TXT. You can type in the word, the name of the file. It's going to find a list of files of that. You have to sift through that, and it gives you the machine name and the local drive letter there.
Oh, we've got a couple questions up, if you don't mind pausing for some questions.
Yeah.
Travis asks, can you set the online backup and local backup data independently, i.e., have some files both online and locally, and then other files back up locally only, not online? Okay.
Okay, so the local backup software has an image. I'm going to go to that next. Now, gentlemen and ladies, I am talking kind of fast because I know I'm showing features. I don't want to be too bored because I'm going to show you multiple applications here. If you feel like I'm missing something, or if you have any concerns about the backup program, please ask it, and then I'll be able to answer it here on the phone. Hopefully all of you are following along okay.
And Richard has a great question that we can pause for too. Is there an iPhone and Android app for backup and restore? Yes, there is. There is a generic and SOS branded iPhone app for backup and restore right now, and there is an SOS branded Android app. In the next 30 to 60-ish days, there will be a generic branded Android app for backup and restore as well.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the wizard here. You can see we have online backup. Now the only backup piece of it there, we can only have one backup set for online, and it's in the schedule. It can run every hour or at different hours, nightly, weekly, monthly. Down here we have set up local backup. This is a separate application that we included, and it was designed to back up folders and files on PCs. That can have a separate schedule. However, when we talk about the image-based backup software, we're talking about here. We're talking about Shadow Protect, powered by our partner StorageCraft. Now this software here, yes, it can have multiple local backup schedules and multiple destinations. What we would recommend is that you would have your first, backup schedule, your primary, as continuous incrementals. That's recommended by the entire industry and all of our partners. You go in here, you select your drives you want for backup, maybe just your E drive for Exchange, or maybe you want your C and your E drive, vice versa. You still get an image per partition there. You select your location. We actually recommend you go to a Windows location because that storage device, if it's Windows, we can then install our SOS application on it, upload to the cloud much faster than a NAS. You can also back up to a local drive, maybe like a USB drive, something like that. Hit next, and you can see here continuous incrementals. I'm showing this because I want to explain it real quick. This method is recommended because it uses the least local and online storage space, because it only has one full backup image, and the rest are incremental images. This is the most popular method because people don't need to do a full backup once a week or once a month anymore. It's just not necessary. That was predicated on how many tapes you could purchase or afford to purchase or how big they were. And that's why they did many fulls. So this actually recommended this can run for 6 months to a year without actually changing the backup job. Now you'll notice there's top and bottom as far as incremental backups. The top portion is used for once-a-day backups. The bottom portion is used for multiple backups per day. So if you're interested in about, in several backups per day, you would just use the bottom portion and say, I want to run a backups between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. With 60-minute intervals. And if you didn't like that, once per day, uncheck all these boxes, just use the top portion. Now moving on here, we have an option screen. You can have a password and encryption on your images. We actually recommend you do split your image files up. You can choose high compression if you want to. Again, but the recommended is industry standard, which is about 50% of use space of a disk. And we have advanced. We do have performance throttling in here. So if you're worried about one of your servers being brought to its knees during the backup, you can throttle that down. We do recommend the MD5 checksum file. Under the image tab, we have the self-healing incremental recovery. There's self-healing in the online backup and recovery manager, and there's self-healing in the Shadow Protect software. If there's a corruption with an image, it's going to purge that, wait to the next backup, and recreate it. And so that's one of my favorites there. If you have some special scripts you want to run, maybe you want to run a manual backup of SQL, or the software itself is going to back up SQL when it backs up the disk, transactionally consistent, using those via the providers for SQL, Oracle, Exchange. Let's say you have another database that doesn't have a backup utility and it has to be stopped first. You can put your script in right here, and it will stop that database real quick, and you put another script in there to start it back up, and so on. And then I would just basically run the backup. So after I set up my continuous incremental backup job, I could go new, and I could select another backup job for different data as an image. So hopefully that answers your question. Now I want to keep going here. We have network view. You can see here that I can manage another node on my network. This has built-in centralized management. So wherever Shadow Protect is installed, you can manage other systems from that. You can change the backup job, you can look at the backup history, and so on. Now, with that said, sometimes we have some of the IT guys that want to manage the backups from their desk, from their laptop. You can install Shadow Protect on your desktop or laptop without paying for a license, because you're allowed to use the recovery and management features for free. But if you try and run a backup, it'll say, hey, give me a license key, please. Hopefully that's clear. Now, there are some recovery methods in here. The restore button here, you would use to restore a drive other than the system drive or the C drive. And you could take one of these images here, like the E drive, and restore it over the E on my system here. And it would do that live. We have Explore Backup, where it lets you mount an image as a drive letter. Now I'm actually going to perform that for you without having the software open. I can just go here and I can actually right-click on one of my images and mount it like this. Quick mount. Now you saw mount there, hopefully. Mount, the only thing different there is to give you more features and information about the image. You can choose your drive letter. You can choose it to allow it to be written to while it's mounted, and so on. Usually people just do quick mount, and you can see it creates a drive letter for us. And on this G drive, that's our mounted image. I can open it up. I can fire a folder if I want to. Now, quickly moving on. Again, if you have questions, let me know. I'll slow down. We could go and do an EGR recovery. So from my mounted image as a drive letter, I can go and connect to the EDB file in that image. You can see here above on the source in the blue area, it shows the G drive exchange. That's my mounted image. And I can open up any of my items in here. I can export any of the items. Most people don't actually export too often because they will go down here and actually create a connection to their live exchange server and all the mailboxes like I've done. And they actually can drag and drop items into the live mailbox. I'm going to go and delete this message here, and I'm going to go bring it back. So I'm going to click on user one's mailbox. I'm going to use the search tool, which I love. I'm going to type in some criteria. The subject line might be Nortel. It was from user 2. I hit find now, and it's quickly found the message. I can open it up and verify it. I can also export it if I want to. You can export a message format or PST. But I just want to actually restore it live, and I just drag and drop this to the user's inbox, and this is going to do a restore for me. If it's already there as a duplicate, it'll say duplicate message not copied. Now that drag and drop method I can use for any item. If I need to do a mailbox level recovery or recover a calendar, I just drag the item down below to that person's mailbox. Or if I need to do a mailbox level recovery, I just drag it over the server name, and if the mailbox isn't there, it'll launch a wizard to say, hey, do you want to create this mailbox? It doesn't exist. You would say yes, follow the wizard, and so on. You can use this to recover, like I said, messages, mailboxes, entire databases, and use it for exchange migration. I love this tool, very powerful, easy to use. And I don't see any questions, so I'm going to keep going. Got one. To recover, do you need to stop backing up? So if you're backing up images, the answer is no. You can be backing up and recover at the same time. So I can have a recovery going on right now, let's say, and I can go to my storage media, I can right-click, and I can mount an image because that image has already been created.
We have another question from Nick. Nick asks, can I remotely restore a file to a client without emailing it?
So if you want to remotely restore a file without emailing it using the web recovery, I think it would actually take you longer to go and recover it and then get it to a user. So the web recovery system and sharing is much faster. Now, if you're talking about if you actually want to do a recovery and have it appear on their machine, we don't do that. We don't have that because in the past, in our experiences in the backup industry, is that whenever people were asked, do you want to restore to the original location or to that machine, people tend to overwrite data they didn't want to overwrite. So we took that out years ago. So when you do a restore, you can either restore it from your office, you just log into the software using the password of that customer, and you can do a restore there. You can remote connect to their server, do a restore there. You can also use the My Account system to share a file with them. Let's see here. Now, I showed everything very fast at a high level for you. Again, I want to keep you guys excited. Do you have any questions about doing bare metal backup recovery of physical machines and virtual machines? I can recover that image to the same hardware, dissimilar hardware, a virtual environment. That doesn't matter. There's an ISO boot disk, ISO or boot disk that you can use to boot to if you need to do bare metal recovery, and that works in VMware as an ISO. It works in Hyper-V as an ISO and Zen server, as well as different hardware.
Ben has a question. Can I assume that Shadow Protect is Windows only?
That's right. It is Windows only as far as images. So if you need to back up data that's not as far as backup as an image, that's not Windows, you would use our Online Backup Recovery Manager or our Mac application to back up the folders and files. Now, if you want to back up data from a Linux machine or from something else, there is some cheaper Linux backup software out there as an image. Have that be saved to one of your Windows staging servers. We'll back it up that way too.
Richard asks, when emailing a file, does the receiver need any of the software?
No. When they receive the email, they click on a link. It's a secure link, and it uses their browser to just download that file.
So yes, you could email an invoice to a client, of course.
You can email your QuickBooks database to somebody if you needed to, as long as it's under those 500 megs.
Yep. Richard asked, do you need to get something for that throat of yours?
Yes, I do. Sorry.
We'll get Jonna a lozenge later on. Thanks for your concern. Ben says, is there any local backup options for Mac, or is this cloud only?
Right now, there is no local backup options for Mac. It's cloud only at the moment. What are your plans for Windows 8?
Wow, I wish Ken was here. Ken had to step out, unfortunately, but I wish he was here for that question.
We plan to build something for Windows 8 when it comes out. We're not really too worried about it. When Vista came out, Windows 7 came out, we were able to get there very quickly. We do, use .NET, so it is Microsoft supported. So us building something for Windows 8, we're not worried about it because we're a Microsoft shop and we have experts in that field. So again, I just want to remind you guys, I know I went fast on showing you the software, and I feel like some of you have some concerns or questions. Please let me know what those are right now. Are you able to show a demo of the branding customization? Let's see here.
We might have a few screenshots, might we?
I can show you, let me show you one of our partners' websites that we did for them and that we host. Let's see. VC backup.ca. Here's one of the sites that we actually built in 2011, and we host this. So you can see here, we use their logo, their name, everything like that, and there's some different buttons you can click on down here. This will download the client. This will download the vulnerability scanner. Need some help. There's some documents that they could read. There's a sign-up page, so it allows them to sign up for an account, choose their account size, pay with PayPal or a credit card. There's a link to the web login, so they can share and recover their files. Contact us. When they fill this out, you'll receive a ticket inside your management portal right here, like view support tickets, and then you can respond to those with any comments that you want to give.
And I should have mentioned earlier when we were on the web integration package and looking at the shopping cart that you can use with PayPal, Authorize.net, or eWay, that you can customize those prices. Those prices are not set there for you. You're able to change that to whatever you like.
An example of the branding is you can see in this client here, we have at the bottom left-hand corner, we have the SOS logo. Your logo will go there. And any place on the screen where you see SOS on the backup, it'll be replaced with your name. That's how we do our branding. And the My Account system, I think I'm still logged in. You have this blue banner here with our logo. It'll be your banner there with your logo.
So when you come on board as a partner, you'll be asked to provide your logo as well as a choice of hex colors, and that will be used to make these modifications. And then you'll also have the flexibility later on to use the WYSIWYG editor within the web integration package. No HTML knowledge required, just simple WYSIWYG editor. You'll be able to use that to change your metadata. You'll be able to use it to change the content on the website. You can change pictures. You can change links, whatever you like to.
Did everybody like the demonstration that I made with all the backup software?
Yeah, we want to make sure that you guys saw what you needed to see, excuse me.
Yeah.
And later on, you're definitely welcome to have a conversation with your partner specialist, and we sort of hope you do. And you'll be able to do an ROI analysis and see exactly what you can expect to make based on the type of customers that you have and the type of package that you may be coming into, as well as another product demo, screenshots of the product, and some more conversation about branding.
Yeah, Nick says, awesome, I like the speed. Andrew, very impressive. Is it HTTPS, the web access? Yes, it is. It is a secure site. Is the hosting included in the partner monthly fee? It is included. Some of you will need to actually pick your domain name because we do have another website that we use for this. So it has to be separate so our APIs can integrate possibly. And that might cost you about $10 a year.
Andrew asks, will the slide deck be available for us to download? You'll actually get a video of this webinar tomorrow emailed to you. And your partner specialist can definitely give you the slide deck. So I know Ken asked earlier how many of you do not know who your partner specialist is. If you've come on maybe later or you didn't answer that question, please let me know now. Just type "don't know" into the chat, and I'm going to use this chat to refer to our staff and get them in touch with you.
Sorry, when we said chat, we meant questions. Whatever you're doing right now is perfect.
Yeah, thank you for reading my mind. I appreciate it. Well, a lot of you don't know. I am sure sorry about that. We are going to fix that.
No problem. We'll have them reach out to you as soon as possible.
Yes. Ben asks, do you ever contact our clients if contact details are entered into your system? No, absolutely not. Only you contact your clients.
Is there a demo for clients? So you, the partner, you have the ability to give out free trials. And the way we manage that is that your free trials will last for like 15 days. And then if you remove them, then we don't charge you for them. However, also with Shadow Protect, that setup file itself, it's always a trial to start off with for 30 days. So you can always install that, you get 30 days before you actually have to use one of your license keys. Now, in regards to demos, we've also been asked about demo environments. In the next day or two, for our partners to actually sign up, we're going to be releasing a new feature here where we're actually going to be able to send you a virtual machine of one of our demo servers. That's just the one that I showed you here, where it has Shadow Protect, EGR installed, On Back Recovery Manager installed, and you'll be able to actually demonstrate using that where it's already set up for you. And we're going to provide that in the Shadow Protect format, the VMware format, and the Hyper-V format, and also with Zen Server for you too. You'll be able to download it for us, but you must be a partner in order to do that. Now, that's for you to demo after your partner. Now, of course, currently, if you don't have a free trial from us yet, then please tell us, and you also can tell your partner specialist, but we'll get you out a free trial. You'll be able to test out online backup. You'll be able to test out image backup software as well, EGR, dashboard, all those things.
Richard asks, selling to the Mac platform, do all your tools work for the Mac user?
So when you back up online using the Mac client, you can also restore on that. You can also restore Mac files using the Windows on the backup application as well. You'll also be able to use the My Account system, so basically the website, share and recover files, the mobile portal, share and recover files, and so on. So as far as those tools, yes, all the recovery tools are available for the Mac clients.
Richard Marks, I'm sorry, do you mean that you don't have a partner account?
I think Richard asked about the demo account, I think, and I explained.
An online test account.
Okay, we'll get you a free trial.
Yes, your partner specialist can provide you a free trial. And
No problem.
You said that you don't know who your partner specialist is, so we'll get you one, don't worry. Any other questions? Remember, you do have to ask the question to be entered in the drawing for the Kindle, which we would love for you to have.
Do we have another poll, Shaylin, or the poll's over?
Polls are over.
Okay.
I think everyone's probably tired of polls.
I actually like polls, gentlemen. It helps get the brain working. I mean, we all are in business here to make money, and some of us actually focus too much on the, as far as IT guys, we focus too much on the, monitoring and management of our customers, and we forget to make money sometimes on an incremental basis, on a recurring revenue basis, and that's what this is. So any business type questions, maybe you have those too, or you're concerned about a certain feature.
Yeah, and I want to let you know about a couple new changes here. We've recently installed the capability to have automatic updates in the software, so anytime there is an update, you'll be notified of that. And we've also recently introduced a business development manager into our team. So post-sale, when you're getting ready to go out in the market and sell the product, you have him. His name is Mike Zarudny, and he is here to help you. And he does work later in the day, U.S. hours, so he will be available to you. He's there to help you with materials. He's there to help you with items like email marketing if you haven't done that before. He's here to help you with collateral, sell sheets, all those things like that, and just general go-to-market strategy for you. Nick says that was fantastic, and he's keen to sign up now. Awesome. That's great, Nick. Anyone else? How does this sound to you? Are you ready to go? Do you have any remaining questions? Richard says he appreciates our info and time. Absolutely. Richard McIntosh says he's ready to go. Excellent. And Ben says thank you. All right. No further questions. Okay. It is an awesome product. Chirag, thank you very much, and we think so too. We think that you'll love it. We'll hang on for 30 seconds or so more here if there are any other product pricing questions. Yes, Travis wants to get his customer migrated out of Mozy, as you well should. He'll be much happier. All right, if there aren't any more questions, we'll go ahead and bid you good night for us, and we hope that, oh, Richard Marks asked uptime.
As far as uptime, we give a 99.9% uptime of our service. Now, the data center companies we use, they always have the 5 nines. They give us, usually 35 ISPs connected to the building. They have 3 days of diesel gas, diesel fuel to keep it running. They have, 14,000 battery backup rooms. So uptime is huge with power and internet. But however, it is possible sometimes that one of our servers might have a service crash that might be down for 10 minutes, or it's possible maybe that a motherboard might fry itself. It might take an hour to replace that. But we don't go down. I mean, our software and our storage systems, we use the best in the market. It is a very proven storage system that's very reliable. So that's why our SLA is 99.9%, because once in a while you might be down for 10 minutes or an hour.
Richard McIntosh, do you have another question, sir? How do we protect ourselves from liability?
Well,
sorry, I don't have a good answer for that.
Well, the EULA is ours. I mean, SOS is still, responsible for how the data is backed up, and in the software itself, and we're responsible if something goes bad. So, our insurance policy will cover that and cover you in that instance. So, and being that you're recommending a third-party solution, it takes away a lot of liability there. There is a EULA in the product. If you are worried about reliability, then you want to make sure your customers install the software and they look at the EULA and they install it. But otherwise, if you're installing it for them, then you have to understand that some of the liability is in your hands a little bit because you installed the software.
So I have just put up on the screen our international call-in number. If any of you would like to call in and speak to our staff, that is the number that you will call. +1 310 878-2626.
As far as Nick, just looking up in your system, I know some of you on here actually just told us you were keen to sign up right now. But Nick, can you give us your company name?
Maybe Nick has, oh, Nick is there? Okay,
there
great.
we go. Email address is always preferred. Helps me find things. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, if there are no more questions, we'll sign off. Okay. Thank you, Chirag. Yes, Bronwyn. Absolutely. No problem.
Thank you much, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time to join our webinar and watch my demo and listen to Shaylin give you marketing and pricing advice.
Thank you all very much for joining us, and we hope that you enjoyed it and learned everything you need to learn. And